We are thrilled to have you all here, and we'll be starting with the welcome speech. Asha ma'am, I request you to give the welcome speech.
Good evening, all. On behalf of Sketch Club, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramapuram Campus, Department of CSE, I feel honored to welcome you all participants for today's workshop, WhatsApp Messenger Scheduler using Python. And this is offered by Ignite 21. And I hope you will be gaining good knowledge after the end of the session. And today's session will be handled by Tarakeshwar. He will be the speaker of the event. And in SRM, you have many specialization courses like artificial intelligence and machine learning, Internet of Things, big data analytics, cyber security, computer science and business system, gaming technology, and cloud computing. Hope it will be a very informative session, and I will hand over the session to Tarak. Tarak?
Hello everyone.
Yes,
Good
Tarak.
evening, everyone. I hearty welcome you guys to the session on WhatsApp Messenger using Python. Uh, Today I'll be your speaker for the day, and let's start with the presentation. Yes, as our agenda today is to learn how to schedule a message in WhatsApp. I think we can't just dive right into the advanced concepts. So I'll be driving you through the basics of Python, which will eventually lead us to the final destination, the working of WhatsApp Messenger scheduling. Here we go. Let's start off with the standard data types.
Why Python?
First,
That's a
we'll be
good
learning
question.
why
There are
Python.
a number of things that make Python extremely useful for coding, especially for beginners. First of all, it's quick and efficient. It doesn't require the use of a lot of complicated symbols, like hashes and dollar signs, that a lot of other programming languages require. Moreover, they're user-friendly. In fact, even you can learn how to code in Python. It's easy to learn. It has an interactive shell in which you can enter programs and run them. It even has something called the Turtle module that's useful and fun for kids. Moreover, there's another module called tk-enter that provides a simple way to create programs with advanced graphics and animations. Python also provides services for data science, deep learning, and artificial intelligence, AI.
So guys, I hope you
Why
got our
Python?
insight of why we are using Python in the first place. So now let's get into the question why it's called Python. So many of you might be having of misconceptions such as it's named after the snake, which we already know, but it's not like that. The creator of Python, Guido, he was a big fan of Monty Python's Flying Circus, which was a show being aired back in the 1970s and 1965s. So he was a big fan of that show, and one day he was seeing that show, and he wanted to name his project after his favorite show, which is called as the comedy troupe Monty Python. So it's named as Python from that. Now let's get into the basics of Python. So Python has 5 standard data types. They are the numbers or integers, as we know, strings, lists, tuples, and dictionary. So many of you guys might be knowing C language. I think a very basic knowledge of C language. So just like the C language, Python too has data types, which are usually used to declare whether a variable is a string, which means a sentence or a word, a number, which is declared as int integer, a list, which has a list of elements. Tuples are almost the same as lists, but here is the catch. We cannot update the values of the tuple. The elements which are in the list are updatable, but here in tuple they are not updatable. So that's the catch here. And coming to dictionaries, we can compare the dictionaries with the dictionary we have in the world. Like a dictionary which has words and meanings in it, it's the same. In this data type, there are keys and values, where keys can be compared to the words in the dictionary, and the value can be compared to the meaning. So if up is the key, the meaning of up, which is to signify the direction, is the value. Next slide. Yeah. So moving on, variables are just like what we use in mathematics. For example, we all know the equations, right? Let's say x plus 1 equal to 0. Here x is a variable. We all know that, right? So in Python, uh, it's a bit similar to it. Here x is a variable. So in Python, variables are just of a specific data type and are used to store the value. For suppose if you need, as shown in the slide here, so let's say height is the variable, and we need to, and we know that the height of this box is 6. So in order to store the value of 6, we use this variable called height. So that's the purpose of variable. And also in Python, there are specific keywords such as for, if. These cannot be used as the variable names. It can be started by an underscore or a word or a letter, but it can't be the keywords. So here you can, as you can see, a plus 9 equal to 18. We need to find the value of a, right? So this here is referred as the variable. uh, in C program, this in C language, the program of Hello World is quite popular. We all know that. Like everyone who is new to programming first executes the Hello World program. Only then they'll continue the journey of C programming. So just like the C language, Hello World program, where we can print our desired statement on the console. Here in Python, we can use the keyword print and write the desired output in between the brackets of the print statement. So as you can see here, we have this x is a variable, and we are storing the value 10 in it. So when we write print, which is the keyword to print the statement on the console, and we write the desired statement here, in which case is the variable. So x is being written inside the parenthesis. So whenever we execute this statement, the value of x, which is 10, is being printed as the output. Comments. So every programmer must use comments to make his program understandable to not only him but also to whoever sees the program. For example, if you are working for a company and you have written a code which is understandable by only you, uh, and this has to be given to the development team for further process. They might not be able to understand your code. So adding these comments to your program will help them understand of what the specific purpose of the code is happening, and what the code is being used for. So that can be done by using simply a hashtag, which is shown here, and continuing with a statement or the explanation of the code. This will not be executed by the console, and it will be taken as a comment. Operators. To perform arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, we use operators such as the plus symbol here, the minus, the asterisk, and the division symbol here. Also, there are special operators in Python which are known as modulo and the exponentiation. So what happens is, when we use this modulo operator, it gives us the reminder. For example, so if I take 5 modulo 2, the answer will be 1, as 2 divides 5 two times and the remainder is 1. So the answer is 1. Whereas when we use the only division symbol, 5 divided by 2, only the quotient is being printed. That's the difference between the division symbol and the modulo symbol. Precedence. So as we all know, we use the BODMAS rule in mathematics when it comes to multiplying whatever in the brackets. We use the BODMAS rule, right? So in the same way, we have this precedence order in Python, which is used by the compiler to compile it. So here this is the precedence order. So here the first dominancy is shown by this asterisk, followed by the division symbol, then the modulo, then the exponentiation. So here, when we come here, even the plus symbol comes before the asterisk, which is the multiplication symbol. The multiplication will be done first, only then it will be added to it. As you can see, 4 star 3 or 3 star 4, which is the asterisk used to multiply, is 12, and it's added to 1. That's why the result here is 13. Otherwise, if you have done with the without any precedence, it would be 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 star 4 into 4 is 16. The answer should be 16, but that's not the case here. In the same way, whenever they are separated by the parenthesis or the brackets in general, what we call them, then the answer will come, the output will be printed as 16. That's the precedence order. Okay. If and else are conditional statements in Python. So as you can see here in the flow chart, this represents the condition. If it's true, a block of statements might get executed. If it's false, and it goes to the end of the program. So the syntax goes like this. It is given as if and followed by the condition, a colon, and the statements to be executed if this if statement is true. For example, if we take, we are declaring here x is as 5. So what we are giving here is, if x is greater than 4, print x is greater than 4, otherwise print this is not in the scope of the if. So as we have given x equal to 5, it's greater than 4, right? So the statement which will be executed is this: x is greater than 4. Coming to else statement. So if there are multiple conditions, or if this condition is not satisfied, if the if condition is not satisfied, there must be a contingency plan or the statement which needs to be executed in case this if condition is not satisfied. In that case, else will come into play. If the previous condition, which is if, is not satisfied, then the program goes to the else statement and looks for the statements which are given in that else column. Whatever the statements are in the else column will be executed if the previous if is not satisfied. Here the colon is very important. This is the syntax, and the indentation is a must and should in Python. The for loop. Here the for loop, it is used to iterate over a sequence of the elements in list, tuple, dictionaries, and so on, whatever data types we have. So as you can see here, if you want to print a hello world 5 times, we need not write print hello world 5 times, as it will be very long. For the same thing, you can do is use the keyword for. I here is a variable which is used to store the value of the range. For I in range of 5, print hello world. So in the range of 5, so so the hello world will be printed 5 times. I'll be explaining the range function in the next slide. Here, for example, let's take the example of squaring a numbers. So for x in range 1 to 6, so 1 to 6 means that it will be running for the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is not included here. So print x, and squared is x star x, which means first x will be assigned the value of 1, and it will be squared, which means 1 star 1. It will be given as 1. I'll show all of this in the later part when we come on to the practical session. For now, let's know how it works. So and 2 star 2 will be 4, that and so on will be printed. This is the use of the for loop. Coming to the range function, as you can see here, range indicates it will be range has 2 arguments or 3 arguments at times, but here we are talking about the 2 argument range function, where the starting element, which is 2, is included, and the ending the other element, which is 10, is not included. Only the elements from 2 inclusive till 9 and 10 is not included. Only those elements will be considered as for whatever we are using the range function as. So this is how it works. It can also accept a third value specifying the change between values, such as if you give us 2, 10, 2, the third argument be 2, so it will be taken as the step function. Instead of printing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it will only be printing 2, 4, 6, and 8. As we have taken the step value as 2, the value will be incremented by 2 every time we go on. The while loop. This is used to execute a block of codes or a set of statements as when a condition is true. So as you can see here, a is declared as 1, while a is less than 7, all these statements should be executed, right? Using the while, we can give the statements as a is less than 7, and whenever we use while, it will be taken as true, and all the statements which are given in the while loop will be executed. Okay, now let's go on to our practical session. I'll be showing whatever I have shown in the slides in a practical mode. Okay, so here comes. As you can see, these hashtags, these are called as comments, as I've shown it in the slide. These are the things I was talking about. See, whenever see, I have written a piece of code here, but to the layman, it might not be understandable. But whenever they read these statements, declaring a variable and assigning a value to it, they might have at least an idea of what we are doing here. That's what the comments are used for. So here I have declared x as have declared a variable called x and assigned 3 as a value to it. So the print statement, as we have previously discussed, will be printing the value of x, right? And the print type x. So type, what is type of x? This is a built-in function which gives us what is the data type of whatever we are taking here. As here x is being taken, right? So x is an integer, so it should return as integer. So I'm running it now. So the value of x, which is 3, has been printed, and the class, which is the data type, is integer, has been printed here. Now coming to the arithmetic operations, here we have already declared x as 3, right? So in order to add it to any other number, we just have to use the variable, the plus operator, which is the arithmetic operator, and we need to specify of what value to be added to the variable. So here we are performing addition. We are adding x plus 1, and in the next line, to demonstrate the subtraction, I am using x minus 1. To demonstrate the multiplication, asterisk, which we have discussed in the slides, is being used to multiply our variable with the integer 2, the exponentiation. So we use this function of we use this 2 cube, 2 square, and we raise the numbers to a power of other number, right? In order to do so in Python, we need to use 2 asterisk symbols to do so. So the whole expression here represents x square. So x is 3, right? So x square must return as 9. Let's see what happens. So we have run this program, and our x is 3, which we declared. 3 plus 1 should be 4. It has given us 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2. 3 star 2, which is 3 into 2 is 6. We have got the exact value. And 3 square, which is 9. We have got it. Coming to strings, here I have declared the variable hello. And to assign a string to a variable, we need to use quotes, whether they might be a single quote or a double quote. It doesn't matter. We can use this to assign the string to a variable. Here I have taken 2 variables. They are hello and world, and I have assigned the same, hello as the value of the variable hello, and world as the value of the variable world. So I am here to print the value of hello, right? So print hello. I did not mention it as a I did not put a quote here, as we did. I can use the direct variable name to print it. And
Tarak,
here,
just a minute.
yes.
Tarak, if you could just increase the font size. People in the other room are not able to see that. Thank you.
Is it visible now?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So here we have taken 2 variables, hello and world, and here I want to print the value of the variable hello. So I've taken hello and I've put it inside the brackets of our print statement. So whenever this statement is executed, the value of this hello variable will be printed on the console, which is hello in this case. So let's change the value and I'll show you. Let's take it as hello guys. And okay, let's execute it later, but I'll be explaining the other print statement here. So this length, this and all is the same as the previous statement, but here the length is the new keyword. Here the length is a built-in function in Python which is used to return the value of number of characters in this variable. Like hello has hello guys, so it will be 1 2 3 4 5. The space will also be counted, so 6 7 8 9 10. It should return as 10. Let's execute it and see. So as you can see, the length of this string is calculated as 10 and is returned. This might be helpful whenever we need, see, you might have seen a Word document which displays the number of words in a Word document at the left bottommost corner, right? It's the same. Whenever we need to know the number of characters or the amount of characters in a string, we use this length function to do so. Coming to concatenation, this is used, we have used our arithmetic operators to add two numbers, right? So we can use the same with strings also. We can add two strings using arithmetic operators. This is exclusive to, not exclusive, but this is mostly used in Python, because in C program, this is a very large program in order to concatenate. But here it's a single line code where we can use our arithmetic operators to concatenate. Here hello is our variable from the previous statements, and we are using an arithmetic operator which tells the program to add. We are adding a space because we need space between it, and we are putting another arithmetic operator, and we are taking the variable world here. So as I've changed it to hello guys here, it might return as hello guys world. Don't mind it, but I'm just printing it in the next line. So as you can see, the whole thing is presented as a single line statement when we use the arithmetic symbols to add two strings. This is called as string concatenation. Coming to capitalization and built-in functions of string. So I've taken a string, I have declared a variable s and assigned the value of hello to it. So whenever I use this function, capitalize, this is used to capitalize the first letter. Whenever we start a sentence, we start it with a capital letter, right? So if there are several sentences in a book and we need to capitalize each and every statement, we need not go and press backspace and capitalize it every time. We can use this function in Python and we can do it. So s dot capitalize, which s here is the variable, dot capitalizes the value of it. So hello is in a smaller letter when we have declared it, but whenever we use this, it prints us with the capital letter. So s dot upper. So whenever we are required to make the whole string in capital letters, we can use this s dot upper to do so. Okay. Then as we have discussed earlier, these are the lists. Here in the list, I've declared a variable s. This will be our list. This square brackets represents that it contains several elements or an array of elements where several elements can be stored. This is called a list in Python. So in a single variable, there are multiple values. So this is a list. So whenever we are printing the statement, it will print all the elements which are present here. We need not see in the previous cases we have taken x equal to 3 and we had to print single variable at a time, right? So in this case we need not do so. Whatever variables are present in the list, they'll be automatically printed whenever we use the print statement and we put the variable here. So if we want a particular element from a list, then we need to know of a concept called indexing. So indexing is something which we all know, such as like in our notebooks we use it, right? We put index number 1 and we write the title of the chapter or something. So in the same way, here the indexing doesn't start from 1, that's the catch. It starts from 0. So index of this 3 element is 0. Next it comes to 1, and the index of 2 is 2. So if we want a particular element, let's say 2. So the index of this is 2, right? 0, 1, 2. So we need to specify the index number inside the square brackets of the variable, and we need to print it. That way we get the particular element from the list. Let's go to the range function. here the numbers are from range of 5. This means it includes all the numbers from 0 till 4, because 5 is exclusive. If you want the fifth number, like the digit 5, then you need to put 6 inside here. That way you'll get 5 also, but here I'm taking it as only 5. So here a common, I'm just printing the list. As we have seen here, I'm making it into a list. It's a, whenever you use range function, you just can't directly print it. You have to make it into a list, only then it will be printed. So in order to make the variable into a list, just use the keyword list followed by the variable inside it. That's it. It will make into a list. So whenever we use this statement, it is used to print all the numbers which are present present in the range. So if you want a particular numbers, like in say from index 2 to 4, so this is called as slicing, where we get only the numbers which we want. Like here from 2 colon 4 represents the numbers from 2 to 4. Fourth index is exclusive. So here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This is exclusive. So 2 starts from index 2 is the element 2. So the elements 2 and 3 will be printed. Here 2 semicolon, colon and nothing. This indicates to start from index 2 till the end of the elements. This prints all the elements from the second index till the end. So it will return us 2, 3 and 4. Here we did not specify the starting value. So this takes it as from the start of the array or the list, and it prints the elements, print all the elements till the index of 2. So here our starting element is 0 and the index of 2 is 2. So it will print all the elements before the index element. So it's 0 and 1. So here nothing, not even the final element nor the initial element, initial index is provided. So this prints the entire range or the entire list. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 will be printed. Here slice index is the final index is given as -1. -1 here represents, so from here, from the end, if you start indexing, it starts from -1. So it started from 0 and it should end with the element previous to this final element, because -1 is represents the final element. So that's why 0, 1, 2, 3 are being printed. I hope you guys understood slicing. If you guys have any doubts, please post it in the chat box. It will be resolved. Okay. Here we have taken integers, right? Yeah, as a elements in the list. Now let's take animals and traverse it using for loop. I'll show you the practical use of for loop. So here animals are cat, dog, and monkey, right? So if you want a particular element from the list, you can use this statement x and index of thing. But if you want to print every element, you can't write this print statement 3 times, or here it's 3, but if I take more than 100 elements, you will be not able to write all the 100 print statements, right? In that case, for loop will be helpful. So whenever you write for, I'm taking animal as a variable because we are using animals here. In animals here is the list. So to traverse through the list here, we are taking the for loop and we are printing each and every animal present in it. So whenever we execute it, first we have taken the variable as animal, right? So first is cat. Cat will be assigned to animal and print statement will be executed. So cat will be printed. In the next iteration, dog will be assigned to animal and animal print statement will be executed. So dog will be printed. In the same way, the entire list will be printed using a single line command. I have shown you how to take the squares of a numbers in the PPT. In the same way, here I'm showing the practical way of it. So whenever we are declaring a list, it's the same. We have declared 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have made another empty list here. There are no elements in it. So in the same way, to traverse through this list, we are using for loop here for x in nums, which is the list's name. And here the first value is 0, so 0 will be assigned to x. We have given something as append. Append is used whenever you want to add an element to a list. Here it's an empty list, right? So I want to add the element of 0 to the power 2. So 0 to the power 2 will be 0. So 0 will be added to the empty list squares. And I'm printing it outside the loop. So first it should complete all the iterations in the for loop. Only then this will be executed, right? So here first 0 square will be 0, 1 square will be 1, 2 is taken, 2 square is 4, which is added to the list, 3 square is 9, added to the list, 4 square is 16, this will also be added to the list. Finally, all the elements will be printed using the print squares statement. Next, here we have taken almost 3 lines to do so. This is a much simpler code where we can directly use the exponentiation for x in nums. This is also the same form of the for loop, but it just reduces our executable time, runtime, and it prints the same values, which are 0, 1, 4, 9, and 16. Finally, we'll conclude this practical session and we'll move on to the WhatsApp Messenger with this conditional if statements. So here we have defined a function. So in order to define a function in Python, we have to use the keyword def, def. We need to specify the function name and the argument it takes. Arguments are the values which you pass when you call the function. So here, if x is greater than 0, I have requested the function to return as positive. If x is less than 0, negative. Else, which is the case when x will be equal to 0, it will return as 0. So I have created a list which has the elements -1, 0, and 1, and I'm using for loop to traverse all these elements. So whenever we are using this for loop, all the elements will be as first assigned to the x. Like from in the first iteration, x will be assigned to -1, and I have asked it to print the sign of x. Sign of x, sign here x is -1, so sign of -1. The -1 will be this function will be called, and -1 will be satisfied by this x is less than 0 condition. So it returns as negative in the first line. In this, when it's 0, neither of the conditions are satisfied. So the final conditions, which is return 0, will be satisfied. So that will be printed. In the final step 1, which is a positive number, the positive will be printed. Now let's move on to the WhatsApp Messenger thing. I hope you guys are clear till now. If you guys have any doubts, please post in the chat box. My teammates will be helping you with those doubts. Let's get on to the WhatsApp scheduler thing. So as you guys been waiting for it, this is the WhatsApp message scheduler. So first, what do we need to do is importing all the packages and defining objects, the audio file, and the scheduling the message. This is the basic outline of the program. So what I have included is you all guys know Google Assistant, right? Whenever you talk, it's converted to text on your screen itself. Do you guys know how it works? No, right? I'll show you a simple program which converts your speech into text. First, let me import all the packages. This is the PyWatt kit, which has all the WhatsApp modules where we can schedule the message and all. So import keyword is used to get all the functions to our Jupyter. This is the Jupyter notebook where we are doing our programs. That all the modules will be imported here. And there's a Google speech recognition module available, and I am importing that too to recognize our audio. So now I have a recording on my PC which says recording 3.wave. I'll show you the recording. I'll actually play the recording so that you guys can hear it. Give me a second. Welcome to Sketch Club. I'll replay it just for you to be sure. Welcome to Sketch Club. So you might have heard it. Sketch Club. So you might have heard it. It says welcome to Sketch Club, right? So whenever I run, so I've given the source file as that file which you guys have heard it now, and I have used the recognizer, the Google speech recognizer, and asked it to recognize, and I have assigned it to a variable R. With this as the source, with this as the audio source, the recognizer will be converting the speech to text. So to do so, I have given 3 statements where if the speech is recognized, it will be printed automatically, and if sometimes even the Google Assistant won't be able to recognize your voice, right? Like your speech, and it might misinterpret your sentences. So in that case, I am not printing the misinterpreted sentences, but I'm just giving it as couldn't understand. And this is the request error where the whatever language you're speaking is not available in the Google speech recognition module. So I'm running it. So you have heard it, right? Welcome to Sketch Club. So it says the same. Audio contains welcome to Sketch Club. So I'm taking this welcome to Sketch Club as our message, and I'm scheduling the same message to my friend Shravan. So here, scheduling the message, we just need to have our pywhat get dot send what message. You can understand it as it's self-explanatory. It's using the pywhat get and the send what message to send a message which we have gotten here, like welcome to Sketch Club will be the message, and it will be sent to this particular number. Also here we need to mention the time at which he'll be receiving that message. So the time now is 4:38, right? I'll be scheduling it to 4:39, and I'll switch it to my whole screen. As it's automatic, my WhatsApp will be open, so you guys will be able to see. Give me a minute, guys. So I hope you guys can see. So it's 38 now. I'm putting it as 39. At 4:39, I should wait a second. Okay, I think it's already 4:39. I'll give it as somewhere 40. Okay, 4:40. I need to send this welcome to Sketch Club message at exactly 4:40 to my friend Shravan. Here is the contact number of him. So you guys will be able to see it in 37 seconds. WhatsApp will be open, and after 20 seconds, which is exactly at 4:40, he'll be sent the message. So let's wait. Almost time. It will automatically be opened in a separate tab, and the WhatsApp message will be sent to him. So as you can see, my WhatsApp has been automatically been opened. I did not do anything. My cursor did not move. I'm not using my keyboard either. So it has already shown on the text field. It's welcome to Sketch Club, right? I did not enter it. It's automatically done. So at exactly 4:40, the message has been sent to Shravan, whose contact number I've mentioned here. This is the WhatsApp scheduler program, guys. I hope you guys learned at least something here. I hope you guys have understood this. If you guys have any doubts, please post it in the chat box, or you can switch on your mic. I'm stopping my presentation now.
Hello, bro. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
I didn't understand that try expect something you wrote, right?
Yeah.
Can you
See,
explain it again?
those are the advanced concepts. I'll be explaining. Give me a second. I'll be presenting my tab.
Okay, bro. Okay, bro.
Yeah. Okay, Uday. Uday, I hope you can see the screen.
Yeah, bro.
So here we have used the try statement, right? So what happens with the try statement is try and accept are the part of error handling. So whenever you use your Google Assistant, if you speak, incoherently, or whenever it's not understanding, it might throw an error. In order to handle those errors, I've taken the exception handling system in Python. So whenever it's trying, it means this code, whenever it's right, it will be executed. Except is the error handling. If it's throwing any errors, it will be printing couldn't understand, or any other error, it will be printing couldn't get. Hello, Uday. I hope your doubt is solved. For further information,
yeah, it's clear.
You can yeah. Okay.
Can you share this code with us?
Yeah, sure. All of you guys are on the WhatsApp group, right? I'll be sharing my Python files, both the Python files, the basics, and the WhatsApp scheduler and I'll post them. You can just use your Python interpreter to execute the files. Okay, I see a lot of doubts here. Do we have to log in to WhatsApp web previously? Yes, you have to log in to the WhatsApp web. I know that all of you guys have it already logged it in, right? You won't log it in every time you open the browser. Yeah, you can choose the number. You can choose the number. See, here I have taken my friend's number, but you can edit it. You can edit it. You can edit it and put whatever number you want to. Have you clicked send when the message got typed? No, everything is automated. I did not even touch my keyboard nor the mouse. It's just the bot. It will open another tab, open the WhatsApp, type the message itself, and it will hit enter automatically. If we need to send just.
I have a doubt. So for the scheduling the message part, we can see R dot recognize Google and it's assigning the audio file to it, right?
Yes.
So I'm assuming that returns a string and like just as we did as the number, can we just assign a customized text instead of like recognizing?
Oh, instead of this, yeah, that will be a single line code. See, I can show you. Okay, what's your message? Tell me. What's your WhatsApp? Okay, I can't use your WhatsApp number as you're not in my contacts. So, okay, tell me the message you want to send to Shravan.
Let's just say, hi Shravan.
Hi Shravan. Is this your message?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a minute, I'll execute it. So it's already 4:44. I'm scheduling it to 4:45. Okay, it says it will open the WhatsApp in 34 seconds and message will be sent at 4:45. So we just need to wait till it is 4:45. So I'll share my entire screen so that you'll be seeing the entire thing happening. Okay, you can see my whole screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, bye.
Okay. So it automatically opened. You can see my cursor. I'm not moving it. I'm not even using my keyboard. See, it automatically typed hi Shravan there. At exactly 4:45, that message will be sent. So it's 4:45. The message is sent.
All right. And is there a way to like automate it in the background rather than like executing it while there's another system task happening?
Yeah, you can do it. See, if your friend's birthday is at midnight 12, let's say it's today at midnight 12, you can put 12:00 here. You can execute it now and leave your system and go away. It will send the message at the particular time, which is 12. Your friend will receive that message.
No, my question was, let's say we were doing another task. Let's say we are running a pretty high resource intensive program. Let's say like Premiere Pro or something. So my system, let's say it can't handle a lot because it doesn't have a lot of RAM. So it will have to overlay that and then execute it, right?
You need to this file needs to be kept on open, like it should run in the background to work. Any application works on this basic concept, right? It should work in the background in order for it to work. There's no way we can do otherwise.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Can we give more than one number? You can always use the for loop and put multiple statements, and you can do so. 16 is 4 p.m. Yeah, that's a 24-hour time format, guys. That's why I've given 16.
Bro, in my laptop it is showing no module found in PyBot. What should I do for that?
You can go to your command prompt, the Anaconda command prompt. You can use pip install pip. I'll type it in the chat box. You can copy paste it. You can use this statement in order to install the modules and packages required. From then it will be executed. Okay, guys, if you guys have no more doubts, I'll hand it over to Shravan. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm handing it over to Shravan. Thank you, guys.
Um, Thank you, Tarak. That was interesting. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining for this event. I hope you all had a very informative and interesting session. So, I would like to thank the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of SRM University Ramapuram for providing us with the incentives and resources for conducting this event. I would like to thank our faculty coordinators, Bennett ma'am, Asha ma'am, and Diki ma'am for supporting and encouraging us in handling this event in a very smooth manner. I would also like to thank my brothers and sisters from the team of Sketch who have been working diligently to make this event a success. Uh, Last but not the least, I would also like to thank all of you for spending your most valuable time with us for the past 1 hour. We from Sketch and SRM University wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. Stay home, stay safe.
Alright, guys, there's a feedback form that you have to fill based on which we'll be giving you the certificates. I'll post the feedback link in the chat box. Could you all please fill the feedback form which is there in the link? Based on this form, we'll be providing you with the certificates in 10 to 12 working days. If you have any queries, you can post that in the chat box or you can text that in the WhatsApp group or mail us also. Also, once you're done filling the form, please put a thumbs up or an OK over here so that we could keep a track of the participants.
Hello, Tarak bro. Hello.
Yeah, Uday.
Can you share some resources for Python so
Sure.
that
Sure, I'll be posting the links to the websites which offer free Python courses or the free training on them. I'll be
okay,
posting it in the chat box.
after finishing that course, we'll get certificates or just only courses?
For the certified courses, you have websites like Coursera, Udemy. You can always
Those are free ones?
and you can apply for the financial aid on Coursera. It will take 15 days of time and you will be granted a free course.
Thanks, bro.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, guys. Your feedback is really worth it. I request Asha ma'am to give a word of thanks to all the participants present here.
Yes, Shreya. Yes, I'm here. I would like to thank all the participants. I hope you would have had a very informative session. Tarak, it's very amazing and it is an informative session. Thank you, Tarak. I hope
Thank
all
you,
would
ma'am.
have enjoyed the session. On behalf of our HOD, Dr. K. Raja sir, I am happy to inform you that this opportunity has been provided by our HOD sir. So I thank all the students who have joined today, and I appreciate all the students of Sketch Club. Okay, you are doing well. Keep rocking and move on, and you can do much more better. Okay, super guys, you have done well. All the best for everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
all the participants. Kindly fill the feedback link. You will be receiving the certificates within 10 to 12 working days. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can contact Tarak and you can contact through your WhatsApp group. Okay. Our students will be helping you and they are doing much better work. You can have a guidance from them. Tarak, all the best, ma. Very good.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Not only for Tarak, all the students who have worked background of Tarak for the entire Sketch Club team, for all first year, second year, and third year students, and for final year students who are supporting your juniors. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma.